Hi, welcome to our discussion of India. As you can see from the map here, this is a very beautiful section of India. You see towards the west, you see Mumbai, or what was known as Bombay, which is sort of the electronic capital. The Vedas are the beautiful hymns of the Indian people that were created early in the history of India. They're sacred hymns, still played by Indians today. Next, we're going to learn a little bit about the Jains. You'll see they actually use kind of the symbol of the twisted cross that you see in Nazism. But here in the Jains religion, it means heaven, human, animal, and hell as different kinds of soul life. Right faith, right conduct, right knowledge, and a natural assistance of all beings is part of the Jains philosophy. The Upanishads are, again, sacred poems that are sacred texts of the Hindu people. And they tell stories and ideas like here. There is a path of joy and there is a path of pleasure. You should always pick the path of joy, not the path of pleasure. Here you see the god Brahman, whom you see portrayed as an old, gray-haired gentleman. And of course he's holding prosperity in his hands in the lotus position. Next you're going to see a statue of Shiva. Shiva is one of the gods of destruction, usually portrayed as a female god. Here she is portrayed with sort of in a ring of fire in a circle, sort of a mandala image, which is to show her power, and she's dancing. Then we have the more beneficent character of Ganesha, which is a god that brings joy and fertility. And Ganesha here is portrayed in this ancient, very detailed sculpture as, of course, a giant elephant, animal of power to get things to move their way. This is the lion capital of Astaka. This is a beautiful capital showing Buddha as sort of the lion, the king of the animals. He is powerful and he is prevalent. And then we're going to watch a little tape here that shows us a little bit of George Harrison and Ravi Shankar playing on the Dick Cavett Show back in the 1970s when Ravi Shankar was becoming a major figure for young people who were interested in Indian music. And here you'll see Shankar playing with a series of other musicians. One is what's called a tabla player to the left. The tabla is kind of like a Indian drum, and the lady at the right is playing a sort of six-stringed instrument that is sort of like a little mini sitar. It plays kind of a droning lower note, and in the middle you see Shankar here, probably in his 30s or 40s, and here he's playing the 28th-string sitar, which has a long metal bridge, and you can see how he pulls and bends the notes. And again, these are sort of hymns, like Vedic hymns. They are religious in process. There's a lot of improvisational work that is done in Shankar's work, but at the same time, there are standard melodies that he plays that are a part of the actual style of the tune. And again, the tabla player, they focus on the hands of the tabla player so you can see the rhythms that he's building. And then Shankar, because he's a master of the sitar, goes off on long improvisational strands. You know, again, like in the 1960s, it was very popular for guitarists to do long improvisations, and Shankar plays in this style. Later, he plays more prepared notes and scripts of notes. This is his daughter, Nora Jones, to the left, posing with Adele at an awards ceremony last year. She's a short little thing, but you can see she has a lot of the facial features of her father. Next, we're going to see a couple of pictures of Siddhartha Gautama. Siddhartha Gautama was the historical figure that was known as the Buddha. He was raised in a wealthy family, the family of royalty. He was not exposed to anyone who was sick or old or dying. And as he got older, he realized there was something wrong, and he abjured his life. This is Keanu Reeves in a little film called Little Buddha about the life of Buddha. And he abjured the life of luxury and decided to go off and become the Buddha and discover the true eightfold path of life. Here is the great stupa, and stupas are kind of burial mounds where Buddhists would bury relics of the Buddha. And here you also see the beautiful entrance to this stupa, and it's and here you see a longer shot of it as well. And you see that this is engraved and carved with sayings of the Buddha on it. As you enter the stupa, you get the sense that you're entering a sacred mound where, again, relics of the Buddha are contained. Here is a seated Buddha. As you can see, the folds of the cloth are very regular. There's very little attempt at realism here. The elongated earlobes suggest purity and chastity and religiosity. This is the really great, beautiful temple at Kandahara, Madeo. It's a temple that is almost 100 feet high. It has multiple columns around it of about 80 different columns. Here is a standing Buddha. You can see one of the arms is gone, but here the Buddha is in a standing erect posture, and probably the one arm that's gone would have been giving the benediction, which is where the hand is kind of outstretched almost to bless people. This is George Harrison, who was a friend of Ravi Shankar's and was very interested in Indian music and made it very, very popular with British and American youth in the 1960s and 70s, posing with his wife shortly before his death. This is a picture of Siddhartha Gautama preaching Buddhism to a follower. Now, Buddhism originates in India, but it does not become popular there, although it does have followers. Eventually, the country reverts back to Hinduism as the principal religion, although there are still people in India who also practice the Islamic and the Jainist faith as well. And here you see a seated Buddha, very, very serene looking. And here you see a happy, smiling Buddha who is very, very fat and courtly. And as you can see, of course, when you get to these other Buddhas, they start to take on the appearance of Chinese and Japanese figures because the religion was more popular there. You also see the mound in the middle of the head suggesting love and charity. No one saves us but ourselves. No one can and no one may. We ourselves must walk the path. And this is one of these Buddhist expressions that suggest the power of the Buddhist philosophy. And here you see the lotus plant, the symbol of Buddhism, and the Buddha himself. Here you see a colossal Buddha statue. And again, you see the sort of benediction, raised hand, and the lower hand sort of opening charity and openness to all. And in the seated position here, sitting on a lotus flower. Here's the most famous building in India, the Taj Mahal. The Shah Jahan wanted to build a temple to his wife who had passed away. Took 20 years, was carved out of white marble. It's the most beautiful and impressive building in the Islamic style.